Good morning, fifth graders. It's Miss Cook here. I just wanted to touch base with you on 3.1 in case you missed the lesson today. It's multiplication with patterns and decimals. If you missed the notes, please refer to the previous video. And so, what we're going to be able to do when we finish this lesson, we should be able to find patterns to help us place the decimal point in the product. Remember, product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look here at this beautiful, beautiful quilt. It says Cindy is combining equal size rectangles for different fabric patterns to make a postage size quilt. Each rectangle has an area of 7,500 square inch. If she uses 1,000 rectangles to make the quilt, here's our question: what is the area of the quilt? Okay, remember we're using patterns to find the product. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Now let's look at this pattern. When I take a number and I multiply it by 1, I get the same number. If I multiply by 10, that just means that I'm moving your decimal point one place to the right. So I'm going to the right one hop or one place. Okay, when I multiply by 10, and multiplying by 10, because it has only one zero. When I multiply 100, it has two zeros, so that means I'm going to move the decimal two places, and I'm going to go two hops, and that's times 100. And I guess you guessed it, if I multiply by 1,000, I'm going 1, 2, 3 hops. Now notice that I don't have anything in that position. What did they put? A 0. So 3 hops would be times 1,000. Okay, so the quilt will have an area of 750 square inches. As you multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? Well, I move the decimal place to the right. For each 0. Okay, for each 0 in the equation. Okay, place value patterns can be used to find the product, remember the answer to a multiplication problem, of a number in the decimals. Now remember, that's 0 and 1/10. This is 0 and 100. That can also be written like 0 and 1/10 or 1/100th. Okay, 1/10 and 1/100th. So let's look down here. Here is your example. It says Jorge is making a scale model of the Willis Tower in Chicago for a theater set. The height of the tower is 1,350 feet. If the model is 1/100th, remember how to write that as a decimal, 0 ones, 0 tenths, 1/100th of the actual size of the building. Here's your question: how tall is the model? So it says, what fraction of the actual side of the building is the model? Well, it's 1/100th. Can you write that as a decimal? Yes, we've already done that. 0 ones, 0 tenths, 1/100th. Notice when we multiply anything by 1, we get the same number. When I multiply by 1/10, now this is real important. Look at how those are written. I'll be going this time to the left. This up here, I was going to the right. This, I'm going to the left. So it's really important. Now, remember, there is an imaginary 0 behind that 3. And so when I multiply that by 1/10, I'm moving it to the left one position. Same thing when I multiply by 100th. The imaginary decimal point is behind the 3. I'm going to move it two places, 1, 2. So now my answer is 13 and 53 hundredths. Notice what I did. I had to move it 2 places. If you put your pen on or pencil on the decimal point and physically move it 2 positions, that's going to help. So Jorge's model of the Willis Tower is 1,301, excuse me, let me backtrack, 13 and 53 hundredths feet tall. As you multiply by 1/10 or 1/100th, how does the position of the decimal point change in the product? Remember the answer to a multiplication problem. I can say the decimal moves left. According to the places, 0 and 1/10 or 0 and 1/100th. Okay. All right. Just remember, you're going left each time. Let's look at the other page for just a moment. Okay, we're on page number 106, the following page. Now remember, when we're multiplying by 1, 10, 100, or 1,000, we're taking so many hops according to the number of zeros in our multiplier. So, which direction do we go when we're multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000? The decimal place moves one place to the blank, to the right in each equation. Money is expressed as 170 and 4 tenths is equal to $170.40. Now that's money. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, look what they've done. 2 places. So I'm going to move this 2 places. Now my decimal is behind the 4, so it ends up $1,704. Now I'm going to move it according to multiplying by 1,000. I have 3 zeros in there. I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 places. Now remember, if I don't have a number there, I've got to put a 0. So I have, remember, put a 0. So after every 3 periods, you put a comma. So now I have 17,040. Remember, when you're multiplying, your numbers get bigger. They get bigger, not smaller. Okay, so notice we went from 17 and 4 tenths to 17 and $170.40 to $1,704 to $17,040. Okay, let's do number 2. This one we actually did in our notes, but we're going to go ahead and review it. Anytime you multiply by 1, you get the same number. Now remember, we're multiplying by 10, 100, or 1,000. Which direction are we going? To the right. So I always make that notation so I know. So this one says I'm going to take this decimal point and I'm going to move it one place to the right. So now I have 31 and 9 tenths. Did our number get bigger? Yes, it did. Okay, now we're multiplying by 100, which means I'm going to move the decimal 2 places. So now I have 319. Now I'm going to move it 3 places, which now I have 1, 2, one more place. So 3190. Make sure you put your comma after every period. Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3, the first one should be really easy. 45 and 6 tenths. I'm moving it one place to the right. So remember, they're switching where the multiplier was to the back end to see, is it going to confuse you? But we're still going which direction? We're still going to the right. One place. So now I have 456. My numbers are getting bigger. This one I have 2 places. 1, 2. So now I have 4,560. Now this one I'm going 3 places. 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. 4, 5, 6. Now I have 45,600. Okay, pause the video and I'll let you catch up and see how you do on number 4. Now, notice number 4 is a little different. Look at those. Refer back to your notes if you need them. So remember, instead of going right, which direction are we going to go? We're going to go left. Left. Okay. All right, welcome back. Anytime we take a number and multiply it by 1, it's going to be the same number. When I'm multiplying by 1/10, that means I'm only going one place over. Remember, there is an imaginary decimal, and I'm going to move it one place to the left. So now I have 639 tenth. 639 and 1/10. Notice what happened here. These went smaller. These went smaller. Every time I go left, they get smaller. Okay, this one I'm going to go 2 places left. Remember, 1, 2. If you physically move that decimal, it's going to help. So I have 63 and 91 hundredths. Okay, all right, let's go down to problem solving, the hot problems in our book today. 110